So glad to know you're still there. It's still Rise and Shine midweek edition, and we've been talking serious issues that affects you and I as far as Nigeria is concerned, as far as politics is concerned, and of course, as far as the change that we desire as a Nigerian, as Nigerian people is concerned. And right about now, we're going to the interview segment where we get to speak with our guest on the issues at hand.
Of course, talking about speaking with our guests, the bone of contention or our focus is on the agitations by some intellectual youths in the diaspora clamoring for former President Goodluck Jonathan to actually declare his intentions to run for the office of the president in 2023. Yes, how well would that go is the question, because there are two angles to this. A lot of persons are of the opinion that perhaps he decides to contest. What difference would that make? We have been joined here to shed light on this conversation by a political affairs analyst in the person of John ONOMO, Victor ONOMO, I mean to say. Victor, good morning.
Good morning, Victor.
And nice to have you on the show.
Good morning.
Okay, we also have another guest who is on call, who will be joining us via call on the show. He is a professor of politics and governance. I'm talking about Professor Robert Dode. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, FM. Thank you for having me here. Good morning, Nigeria.
Good morning, sir.
Okay.
Good to have you.
All right. Let's just get started with this. What chance does Goodluck Jonathan have if he decides to contest or to join the presidential race for 2023? All right,
okay.
Victor.
Is that for me?
I'm starting with Victor here.
Okay. See, the thing is this. Dr. Jonathan has a good chance. And, you know, politics is not a moral issue because a lot of questions being asked, a lot of agitations right now. Some people are questioning the morality behind that, and we ask ourselves, in the Nigerian politics, how much of morality is injected into it? So, be as it may, Jonathan is qualified to run for the election. Jonathan has a right to run for the election. And funny enough, some of his boys are on rampage in the two major political parties. Wike is rampaging in the People's Democratic Party. Gospel Akpabio is seriously rampaging in All Progressive Congress. So how they will bridge that together to favor Jonathan is the drama we are waiting to see in the days to come.
Well, Professor, do you share his line of thought at the moment?
I think before I come to his line of thought, permit me first of all to extol the virtues of the man, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan GCFR. He is one of the most patriotic Nigerians / leaders of our time. You must understand that for a former very loyal vice president who became a president after the demise of his principal, His Excellency Yaradua, and he became a president for another 6 years, for me today has become Nigeria's foremost peace ambassador to the world. And it is also on record that he is the first sitting president of Nigeria to hand over power to another party, and he accepted defeat in that election. Quite commendable CV and resume. However, you have stated that a number of diaspora friends are clamoring on him to recontest. And as my friend in the studio has stated, as a Nigerian, he has a right to indicate interest. And if a party accepts him, they can then fly him as their candidate. I think I will stop there for now before I go into other aspects as you may desire. So he has a right for now. However, I will share my own opinion as a governance specialist.
Yes, we know, Professor, we know he has a right. We are talking about, does he have a chance? Perhaps he decides to join. He has the right to join. So if he decides to declare his interest to join the presidential race today, what his chance? What is his chances?
Okay, since you want me to go full scale, I will. And talking about his chances, on the plank of the little statement I made, Jonathan has attained that third status of a statesman. And judging from the way politics work in Nigeria, you don't just come out less than 1 year to an election and declare your intention. People have been on the queue. If it is the Nigerian politics that I understand. Moreover, he has not declared his intention. All we are talking about here now are speculations. As a political scientist, we do very little with speculations. We do more with data.
Of course,
And
that
this,
in as much as that is true, Prof, sorry to cut you, we know that these speculations does happen. These agitations happened because we understand it happened before Vice President Yemi Osinbajo decided to declare officially. We had a lot of those speculations. We had a lot of people agitating for him to come out, different groups and all of that. So it always does happen. Even former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, there were speculations, and of course there were people agitating for him to, contest. So perhaps this is one of those speculations that might just come through.
I agree totally with you. As a matter of fact, there is a concept I have come up with about the average Nigerian politician. They act like the wheelbarrow politicians. What is a wheelbarrow? A wheelbarrow is a moving object that remains in a permanent state of rest until another person moves it. You see, these are the kind of things we have seen here. Somebody has an intention, he doesn't come out openly, he sponsors a group. The group begins to test the waters. Then finally it comes out. That is not politics. I look at even the man who just left the seat in America, whether you like him or not. His name is Donald Trump. As soon as he accepted that defeat willingly, he told you that he is coming back again. And as we speak, his machinery is in motion. But in Nigeria, we will have to wait. The man or the woman will send some people. Some people will go and purchase farms on his behalf, 100 million. Who gave them? How did they acquire it? 40 million. So I understand where you are going to. But as I say, we are waiting for His Excellency Ebele Jonathan to now come out finally after his pathfinders have finished declaring his coming. They went before Jesus to say, clear ye the way for the Lord. And when they come, they say, blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord. But take note, the same people that say, blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord, we are the people that say, crucify him. So I agree with you. The front, the groups are not just acting on their own, but they are acting on behalf of somebody. And when the time comes, we will know. But for the chances of him clinching the ticket in APC, I want to beg our brother and friend, Billy Goodlord Jonathan, DCFR, not to waste his time and resources.
All right, so Professor, you've said a lot of that, but I want to come to you, Mr. John. A lot of persons' concerns right now is about whether or not President Jonathan will be able to replicate or salvage the Nigerian situation, given the fact that he has been a former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and by the constitutions of the land, he can only go for 4 years. Now, what would you say about that?
Now, he has energy. Let's look at this. Jonathan has the required energy to go a full hog if he wants to contest. 2, Jonathan is not new to the system. He has, like I said before, he has his voice in the system. The problem just now is that his voice are scattered. But within the APC, it is very clear now that the APC wants power to go. There's no controversy as we have in PDP as to where the power should go to. So the thing is that down east or down south here, what are the chances of Dr. Goodluck Jonathan? Well, in Nigerian politics is this. I wouldn't know what agreement he had because it was very unusual for a sitting Nigerian president to contest election, fail and concede power to another person instantly. And nobody can know what really went in between the period of before that conversation between Jonathan and Buhari. Nobody can really say what happened. But we also see a chunk of Jonathan boys moving to the All Progressive Congress after some time. We don't know what they are playing. Some of his boys we expect to declare for this election have not declared. We don't know what their plans are. Like the prof said, you find Nigeria is a very funny place. You just see someone who wants to test power. You know, maybe under the circumstances under which Jonathan left, it will be a little bit political, suicidal for him to openly come out to contest for election. People will view that as greed. People will see that as so much, the quest for power. But then, he has to take, like Professor said, he has to take the wheelbarrow perspective by getting himself dropped and allow himself to be pushed for that before getting to where he wants to go to. Now, see the capacity of Jonathan. Very good thing about Jonathan is this. Unlike this present administration, the energy is there for Jonathan to run. And two, Jonathan is an economist. He didn't achieve what he achieved by being an economist or a political scientist. To the best of my knowledge, he's an animal scientist, but he has a listening ear. He has a team he put together. He gave them that power to run and supervise them to some extent, unlike what we're having today, where the ministers are nearly not supervised at all. This one will get up, you have someone in the Ministry of Power, this having enormous power. You find somebody in the Ministry of Niger Delta having enormous power. You find somebody in the Ministry of Transport becoming a president in the Ministry of Transport and all that. That was limited during Jonathan era. But to be very fair to you, Jonathan has a team he can put together, and within the period he's left power, he has gallivanted enough to, he must have learned also from his experience. I'm not his forerunner. Right? I'm just feeling the reality, because what Prof says, it's not about, in Nigerian politics, we don't sell programs. That could work idealistically. This ought to be the right thing. But realistically, you can find Buhari call his boys to the house one day and say, look, as it stands now, I want you all to support Jonathan. And you see a change of activity. You begin to see people now begin to tilt towards Jonathan. You see people now begin to say, let them. But then we are just afraid of one thing. Jonathan should be used to shortchange the South. That is the major thing. He should be used to shortchange the South, because if he runs for this election, he's going to run for one tenure, and power will return to the North. Again, you also look at this. What if the North also grab the power through the People's Democratic Power, People's Democratic Power, a party after another Northerner has left from the All Progressive Congress? So we are in a very interesting.
Well, I'm concerned about the return of Goodluck Jonathan. That is, if he would decide to join the rest, because judging by the history of Nigeria, most of our leaders are recycled. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo came again as a civilian president after being president under the military regime. Same as the incumbent president. We see that if you compare those two administrations, when they were military president and fast forward to when they became civilian president, not much difference has been achieved, specifically with the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. What difference would it make?
Nothing nothing has really changed in this country since the era of when Babangida collapsed the economy through the structural adjustment program. Everything has continued to go forward. The economy has continued to get bad. And I sympathize with Buhari in a way because of the global economic meltdown. I know his party is injected so much into the economy without supervising, which is his own error. That is why we want a much younger president. We need someone with that energy to supervise what he's doing. It's not about your intention. It's about you. You can have a vision. Your intention might be right, but if you don't have the right energy to supervise what you put in place, it becomes a complete mess. Because you are dealing with human. Politics is about human. But in that case, see, Jonathan, I don't know why there's a way I look at the entire scenario. It is within Jonathan's right to run. Jonathan has every right to run.
Do you share the professor's line that it's a waste of time for him to do that?
Well, I wouldn't. Let me disagree slightly with Prof. Prof, like I say, Prof, the angle Prof is doing is that he might be calling to and got deceived. Prof has not also told us what has transpired in several meetings held with Jonathan. Even when nothing is happening, you just get up one day, you find Jonathan in Buhari's office, and this has continued over time before this issue of people pushing for Jonathan to declare. Nobody has also been able to tell us what transpired between the period Jonathan agreed to hand over to Buhari. So there is that tendency that there might have been a subsisting agreement. Look, after me, I'm going to give power back to you. But for the fact that there's so much agitation up north, this place might be in crisis. When if you continue in power, there might be crisis. Let me go. I can give you that assurance. After some time, you're going to come back to power. That is my speculation. You know, like Prof said, in politics, they don't give right to speculation. But we've seen a lot of speculations in Nigerian politics coming through because there are a lot of John the Baptist in Nigerian politics.
Okay.
So we take seriously anything speculation.
But well, sir, I think at this point, what happened, like you said, might be speculations as far as Jonathan is concerned. But before coming to you, Prof.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, at this point in time, in as much as a lot of things are basically on speculations, and we cannot tell whether or not there was some agreement between former President Jonathan and President Buhari before he handed over power to him. Now, most emphatically is the fact that Nigerians are looking for a messiah. Now, in your opinion, do you believe that given the opportunity within the 4 years tenure that Jonathan might be allowed to rule Nigeria again, would you agree with Mr. ONOMO that Jonathan will be able to bring about the much needed change within that 4 years tenure? I mean, ONOMO has cited that one of the problems of the present administration is the fact that ministers, political appointees are not being monitored. And that is one credit he has given to the former President Jonathan's administration, his ability to be able to, closely monitor the people he has delegated powers to. Do you agree or disagree with his opinion?
Well, I stand on my initial observation that I'm a political scientist, and I will not want to be dragged into the north-south conundrum. No. I'm a south-south person. Originally speaking, I should say, let our brother, as the case in Nigeria, our brother. I'm talking from the political scientist point of view. You see, we all have a right to own our opinions, but let them be based on empirical evidence. We have agreed that His Excellency Bello Jonathan has a right to indicate interest in ruling Nigeria again. But the question is this. The Rotarians have what they call the four-way test of the things we think say or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Are you telling me there that there was an agreement, an unwritten agreement between President Jonathan and President Buhari that when you hand over, I will also hand over to you? And as a Nigerian, I should clap my hands at that. Nigeria is not a banana republic. Nigeria is made up of over 250 intelligent minds. I can tell you that Nigeria has well over 100,000 candidates for that office, if given the opportunity. So I don't buy that idea of saying if you give him 4 years again, he will do some of the things he did before. What are the things President Jonathan actually did? We are trying to give him credit that he managed those that worked under him. How many did he manage? Did His Excellency Jonathan manage this animal okay? And the kind of stupendous wealth we're hearing she parades now, with our money stashed away in foreign banks and even preserves that were made with diamonds, with due respect. Are we talking about Dasuki? Was Dasuki controlled? Please, for goodness sake, I'm happy that you mentioned the fact that the former two presidents that came back have disappointed us. I don't think that President Jonathan will be different. My position is that we have good candidates out there. The job of His Excellency Jonathan for now, and I pray to hear voices like ours, should be that of a statesman. Now hear me, I'm in the university system. When a vice chancellor is about to be replaced, the Senate sets up what is called the search team. Because there are some good candidates that may be intimidated or not interested in indicating interest. It is the responsibility of the search team to search them out and encourage them to contest because they have seen their resume. That is the job that our statesman now should be performing. Let His Excellency Jonathan join the elder statesmen to identify credible Nigerians who can move Nigeria forward from 2023. Please, I want to ask, what did our brother forget in Asurok that he thinks he must go and collect back? You know, there are people out there that will do better jobs. As my friend here has alluded to, we have some young, vibrant Nigerians with pedigree. Give them the opportunity. We are in a digital age now. We're in the period of the fourth industrial revolution, the period of Internet of Things. We want to hear presidents that will converse and talk with other presidents. I know that our president is of date. So please, I want to plead with you. I don't buy that idea of he was able to check those who were working under him. We had a TVIN, THIEVING team under His Excellency Ebele Jonathan. We also have some of them now. So, like the other two have failed woefully, I can predict now, as a political scientist, that to a large extent, if he is given that opportunity, nothing different will happen. So I stand with those who say, let him continue to play the role of a statesman. Please, let him rest. They want to rubbish his records.
Well,
they will take his money, they will rubbish his pedigree, and it will amount to nothing.
well,
Thank you very much.
Mr. Onomo, I would like to ask, do you have any response to that?
Well, let me respond this way to. Let me correct one impression. I said Jonathan has the required energy to monitor, not that he monitored those who were with him. And it's also possible that having left office, Jonathan could still have looked to say, look, this is where I did wrong, and given the opportunity, I believe we can correct that. I am not a forerunner, like I said, I am not a forerunner to him. I'm trying to look like what he said. He said, you don't put so much into political speculation. You look at the reality, and in looking at the reality, you look at the reality of the Nigerian political system too, how things work. I imagine a lot of things. I would like to be the president of this country. Prof, from the way Prof is speaking, Prof is capable, much more qualified to be the president of this country. A lot of you young people sitting in this studio are qualified to be the president of this country. But what is our reality? President, to be a president of Nigeria, in our progressive Congress, you need as much as 100 million to start with. Even if I sell my father's entire asset, I couldn't even start with consultation. And those who are running it today, who are running for it today, like the governors, I can bet you some of them are using the state money to run, and governors will suffer in their state. Do you understand that? Now, how many Nigerians too who knows that people vote based on what they receive will now, if you are in diaspora, are you working somewhere, how many Nigerians will come back to do that? That's what we're calling on the intellectual class, where my erudite prof belong to, that over time we should begin that political reorientation of the people, not toward the election period. I believe that if you want to change the Nigerian thinking, you want to change the way things are done in this country, the intellect should spend much time, at least 4 to 5 years before election, to carry absolute reorientation of the people. Because right now, an average Nigerian delegate, has already counted his money toward this election. I put that to you. The man who has been tortured over time, the economy has been run down, the people are in despair. What do you expect from them? The guy down in my village is looking at how much certain people will pay for a delegate. He has already calculated, and may probably tell you that before this election runs out, I'm going to make 3 million. How do you deal with people like that? So that is why I say, if the system, I am not saying that we should be replicating or we should be recycling leadership. I'm trying to look at the reality of the Nigerian situation. Quote what I said. If today, with so much money, with so much people suffering, if today the president calls his people to the house, and probably even called the governor of Rivers State, who is a very close ally, forget all the muscles you see on television, and call the likes of Gospel Akpami. Let me be very realistic about that. Call all the political, the strong people of Jonathan as at that time. Call them together to Aso Rock today and tell them, look, let's imagine this. I know we all said. Tell them, look, I want all of you to go and work for Jonathan. I want you to go and deliver Jonathan. I tell you, in the next few days, the political thinking of the average Nigerian will sing. You will even find most of those people who are calling Jonathan statesman, calling to be his coordinators. That is the reality of the Nigerian politics. So what I'm actually advocating for, if I were to advise Jonathan, if advice was important in politics, when people are seeking for political power, one thing you don't advise an average Nigerian politician, if you want to be his friend, is don't tell him not to contest. You become a permanent. I'm telling you that from experience. So you don't tell Nigerian politicians not to contest election. You can advise from a position of advice, but you try to do that most anonymously. But if I were to ask for a Nigerian president, I wouldn't ask for any former president. I wouldn't even ask for those who are in the system today. I wouldn't ask for anybody in PDP. I wouldn't ask for anybody in APC. Like I've always said, when you put APC and the PDP together, I will see this. I will repeat, I will continue to say it. And I look at the PDP, look at the APC, ask me the difference. What is the difference? It's just like I always tell you, it's a dozen and 12. So anyhow you put it, these are the same people. So everybody in this system who has money to run for this election is a recycled politician, because he's been around there since 1999 and nothing has changed in this country. So every politician running in this election in APC and PDP is a recycled politician, either recycled from the House of Assembly or recycled from the House of Rep or recycled from the Senate to still contain in the same situation. And if you look at them, what has been their impact in their various constituencies as governors going to this road, with what credentials are they going to run for this election?
Okay, sir. Now, one of the key issues that you and Prof have agreed is that you would rather settle for a younger person, somebody who is not within the system, somebody who would be technologically savvy, like we've had in other countries of the world, where you have younger persons leading as president of their different countries. But then, like you've rightly mentioned, one of the biggest problems we're going to have in the Nigerian situation is the problem of funding. Now, presently, we've had situations where we had a collection of Nigerian youths reportedly buying forms or purchasing forms for some political aspirants. Now, let's look at it from this point. If, for instance, if realistically, if of a truth that Nigerian youths are gathering themselves up to purchase forms for recycled politicians, wouldn't you think it would be a right thing for those same group of Nigerian youths to collectively contribute money and equally purchase for the young person?
Let me take it back to recent history. The present election, the 2023 July, moving to 2023 election, make me believe that the NSAS protest was sponsored. Because if you have the number of youth who feel that agitated about the system, coming out that time, sealing roads, blocking everywhere, calling government to order, calling bluff the police brutality, and towards election, this same youth in a malnourished economy like us cannot muster up the same courage to come out to say, look, enough is enough. If you now look, the same people who were calling for the answers are now behind some politicians agitating for their emergence in 2023. That is the sad scenario. That's what we say. The average Nigerian, you should come back to himself. It's not about coming here. When you have this is just about the only, like in this place, this is about one or two radio or television stations you can come and bear your mind. You can't do that. But these are supposed to be where you orientate the people. Why do they do that? Because if you do that, if in your studio here, you begin to talk harsh on the government, telling them to do reality, I tell you this your road will remain forever. Nobody's going to look into this your road. But these are the things government are supposed to do to promote businesses. Government are supposed to open ways to where good business are run, where people are employed. But everything here is politicized. So you have to be on the government side. They squeeze the economy in such a way that you don't operate without being loyal to the government. So what I'm saying now is that I am calling on the average Nigerian to be independent. Stay away from this same old politician you're recycling until we come back to that. If the NSAS protest was actually a protest of consensus Nigerians who needed change, they should bring back that protest politically and pull one person from there. Where are the showerers? Well, I keep asking this question.
The truth of the matter is...
Please, can I come in briefly here?
Oh, okay,
yes.
okay,
Prof.
sir.
Please, so that I don't miss it. Please, I will want us to stay on the subject matter. You know, the NSTARS protest to a large extent is a different kettle of fish. So that we don't make a simple
I was
point.
coming to that, Prof. I
Okay.
want to talk about the issue. Let's digress a little bit to the issue of
Can
the
you hear me?
northern. I can hear you, sir. Let's talk about
Okay.
the issue of the northern interest. Over time,
Yes.
we've always heard about the northern interest, and would you say the agitation on Goodluck Jonathan to come out and join the presidential race for 2023 could be to a large extent to protect the northern
It has that
interest?
coloration. Let me tell you, it has that coloration. It has that coloration. But it's unfortunate that at this point we're still talking about ethnic politics. This is one thing we should disabuse. Going back to talk about ethnic politics, I want to tell you that what is there? Someone has left power. If this country was properly run, I tell you, nobody will be thinking about North or South. If this country was properly managed, we'll look at every Nigerian as a Nigerian. We'll look at every Nigerian, whether it's from Ijo, whether it's from Isoko, whether it's from Oron, whether it's from Anang, whether it's in Ibibio, whether it's Tibi, nobody will care about that. Whether it's Hausa Fulani, if there was a sort of equity where people are given or people are respected based on what they can bring to the table, absolutely. If the previous Nigerian president were doing well, nobody will care where you come from. At a point in this country, we had voted on a Muslim ticket. But if you bring that, it will be a most controversial thing to do at this point. Abiola and Tofa run on a Abiola and Kingibe run under SDP run on a Muslim ticket. But if you bring that today, I tell you, this country will implode. You can't bring that again. So we came to that point where we got to that near civilization, near political civilization, only to get to be pulled back by military regime. So what I'm trying to say is that if I don't discuss ethnic politics, I don't do that. But what it's looked like now, and from the permutation going on, this is beginning to look like a northern agenda. Let me give you two instances. You have the People Democratic Party, some people coming to calling for consensus without taking other people along. Nobody says, let us gather all the intellect. Let us bring Peter Obi together. Let us bring Tambuwa. Let us bring all these people. Let us bring people from the south. Let's bring Ayim. Let's bring Wike together. Let us sit together as a young people who want to salvage this country and reach a consensus. But here you see, to run for consensus, 4 people up north begin to run from this consensus. They terminated their journey in the house of Ibrahim Bodomasi Babangida, where Professor Ango Abdullahi now comes up and says, okay, from the consensus, 2 people are most favored. That's a very unfortunate situation.
Not all the northern aspirants were actually part of that consensus.
I am saying, I'm giving an angle to what is happening.
Okay.
Then you then come, the backers of Jonathan believe that. They don't believe that. Let me be raw about it at this point. They don't believe that Jonathan will salvage the economy. They simply believe that Jonathan will come and stay for 4 years and power will go back.
Of course, that brings me to you, Professor. Prof, at this point, by political calculation, what appears to be the interest of the North could be the calculation that perhaps if Goodluck Jonathan runs for the office, he will stay for 4 years, which is to complete his previous tenure that was truncated by the introduction of the All Progressives Congress emergence. But then, by that calculation, it means power will return to the North almost immediately after Goodluck Jonathan's exit in 4 years. Do you think that is fair enough when you talk about equity and justice in Nigeria?
Well, thank you. I'm happy you used the word calculation, because if you have used the word speculation, I don't dispense my energy talking on speculations, because speculations are unfounded issues. So scientifically, we don't waste time on speculations. But in terms of calculations, I will not doubt the possibility of what we are saying. And take note, when we talk about the North, who is the North? We are talking about the political class. If you go to I did my research in Kano. You go to the grassroots and talk with the real Northerners, you will hear almost opposite of what the elites say and do. Because this has been a perpetual structure where a few set of Nigerians have used the name of ethnicity, as my friend there will say, so they go to refer to as the iron law of oligarchy in political science, to keep recycling themselves. This elite, when they meet to discuss and share the national cake, You are not there, I'm not there.
Yes.
Electricity is not brought on table. They share it and go. It is when they want to whip up sentiments to gain some support. They bring up the issue of ethnicity. And please, while my friend was speaking, I needed to also make mention of something. See, let's not make some of this in philosophy is called fallacy according to history generalization. In Nigeria, there are still people that will not accept the role of coordinator of a Bele Jonathan presidency. I can tell you there are people like that. I can give you a very simple illustration with myself. We hear people say returning officers, lecturers rig the election for politicians. It is a hasty generalization. As a returning officer, what is your work? You collect and announce the result that I'm giving to you. It is only when you go out of your way to manipulate. And that's your business. So there are still lecturers who have not soiled their fingers. I was the returning officer for the rerun election in a Senate, in case you don't know. The senatorial rerun election. What was my work? The people in the field brought the result. I put it in the and I announced before everybody. So this idea of saying all Nigerians, no, including my friend that is there, are you not telling me that you can serve as a coordinator? Then you are not a youth, you are pretending yourself to be. So there are Nigerians who will not accept those rules. Yes, I agree with him. Let us begin to identify ourselves and have a need for ourselves. 2023 is too late. I agree, it's too late. The cabal must produce their own. But let's talk now about 2027, 2031 or thereabout, and beyond. Great nations plan for future generations. Small nations plan for now. So I know in terms of that, there may be that calculation, but that is between them, and they are not the owners of Nigeria. Democracy is about the people, but the people have to be awakened to their consciousness. Our political culture is still very low, and that is why they can even ensure that universities are closed ad infinitum, so that people don't get education, people don't have a mind of their own. Every time they come out after 4 years and share rice and give us a palm oil, we stay and they snap and they show video and they call it a democracy dividend.
Well,
After that,
Prof,
another 4 years.
that would be a subject
We need
for
to come up
another
with a
day.
new crop of Nigerians
Okay.
who will begin to say, let us plan for the next 4 years.
All right.
Because I assure you, you can't just uproot.
Okay, we'll take that as your last
Go
thought
ahead.
while we talk to Mr. Victor ONOMO. Victor ONOMO, let's take your last thoughts on this before we wrap it up.
Well, my thought is that every Nigerian should know that this country belongs to all of us. The better, if you do the good, we are doing it for our children. If you manage badly, it's all for our children. That's all I can say.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on the show. I would like to thank you very much, Professor, for being on the show or for having time for us today.
Thank you.
All
God bless
right.
Nigeria.
Amen.
Bless you, Prof.
And Mr. Victor, it was great having you again, and
Thank
we
you
look
very
forward
much.
to
I missed your
another.
birthday, so we
Oh.
can celebrate offset.
Well, thank you for that.